Welcome to Chads by Christ, the show about Catholic lads living Catholic lives. I'm Shali.
I'm Deshaun.
Desh. I was away last week, and that is why there was no episode.
I was also away last week.
Why were you away?
I wasn't, but we didn't do an episode, so technically we were both away.
True, but we
Why
didn't do
were
an
we away last
episode
week?
because I had to do employment paperwork
That's right.
because
Yeah,
I started a new job today.
Yes, tell us about that.
I started a new job today.
Yep. So can you give us your social security number, your ABN, the name of your first pet, the last 4 digits of your credit card number, and the numbers on the back?
Conveniently, it's actually all of those questions have the same answer. One.
One.
That's one. Yes.
Your social security number is 1.
One. Yes.
Well, we don't live in America, so yeah, that would make sense. Okay, fair enough. You call my bluff. No scams for you today.
Next minute,
not yet.
one. In
One. Tell us about your new job.
I mean, not much to say yet because all I've really done is the basic induction stuff. Get your laptop, get your phone, get your desk, get your bearings. But it's the same. It's basically the same job that I've been doing these past few years: construction, budgeting, estimating, just in a different field of construction, different company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yes, that's me. How have you been?
I'm same old me. I got my protein shake. Got my job, my normal, same old job. That's about it.
Nice.
I am also looking at switching jobs, but for the time being, like my day to day is pretty normal.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because changing jobs is a thing. It's been an adjustment. And it'll really kick in like once the novelty wears off.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do we want to talk about? What pods do we want to cast today?
Those Mars pods, those are pretty good, man. The chocolate ones.
Those are pretty good.
Let's talk about those. Nah, we can't talk about those.
They still exist, yeah.
They do exist. Yeah, I had them the other week.
Nice.
Let's talk. Well, while we're on the topic of like new job, let's talk about new starting new things. Like for example, you obviously felt that you wanted to move on from your old job to the new job. I am currently looking for a new job. Like, what makes this is just on I'm just mentioning this on a job level, but when you have like a certain responsibility, when is it time to like move on, or like when have you reached your capacity? Does that make sense? Like what I'm asking?
Kinda, but also like not really in the context of my job change, if only because like I didn't leave my old job because I hated it there and everyone who worked there and everything it represented.
Right.
It was more like I got presented an opportunity for like something new and fresh and exciting, and it was like, oh, I want this, like I want to pursue this thing.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate side effect is that like it meant I had to leave. So it wasn't like I moved on from my old job in the sense that like I left. Like leaving was the secondary, if that makes sense. Like my goal wasn't to move on. My goal was, like I wanted this other thing.
Okay. But leaving is a consequence of moving on, right?
Correct. Well, moving on is a consequence of moving towards something else.
Yeah. Well, like my question is more like maybe this isn't particularly relevant to your context, but like say you have a responsibility or a duty, like when is it time to pass on the torch, so to speak, is more what my question was. So like it could be in a job setting, it could be I don't know. That's the thing. I struggle to think of like more scenarios. It could be some other responsibility. Like you could be class president.
Yes. I mean, the responsibilities that are coming to mind are like job or parent. Like, when do you let your kid be their own entity?
I was just thinking you can't stop being you can't stop being a parent and move on to a new gig.
No, I mean, but like you start, you have to like adapt as your kid
Different
grows up.
style. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. That makes more sense. Just
Like
like imagining like a parent is like, all right, Timmy, you're 8 now. This is your new parent. I'm moving on.
yeah, no, not like that, but like like
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
crude
I
about
get
it,
you.
like you got to wean your kid off the milk
Yeah,
to
yeah,
start
yeah,
with, get them onto
yeah, yeah,
solids, and then then you got to feed
yeah, yeah.
themselves. Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah. I get you. I
um,
get you. But yeah, my question is, when do you know you're ready?
ah, dude, I don't know, man. Um,
Do you just take the plunge and just like hope for the best, or
I mean,
should you
like
prepare
yeah,
yourself?
what does ready mean?
Well, that's my question.
Okay, okay, but like, okay, well, what do you think ready? Just like guess at what you think ready might be.
Okay. I guess ready in the like in the broader sense of when you need to move on or start something new or like pass on a duty, like ready in the broader sense it would be you're not gaining anything from this. Like maybe you're not learning anything new, or like you said, maybe something new and exciting has come along and you want to embrace that new thing. And like the old thing is just, it might not be boring or anything, but like maybe you want to try something new, like you want a change.
Mm,
Ready could be forced upon you, like you could be, hey, like this isn't your responsibility anymore. Go find something else to do.
yeah.
And, like that's like something that like I feel like that's something you have to deal with as well. Like when I talk about ready, I mean that as well. Like when you're forced out of something and you have to go find something else, like how do you deal with that as well?
Mm, um,
Like I feel like that also falls under this category of moving on and finding something new as well.
I guess. I disagree that it's like that it falls under the umbrella of ready, because like by
Hmm.
its very nature, it's not something you can be ready for.
What if you have to be? Like, say, what if you're like, or what if it's your job? You can't be ready to apply for a new job. You have to just start applying for a new job. Otherwise, how are you going to
Well,
find yourself?
yeah, like
In a job setting, yeah, that's what I mean. Like in a job setting, it's a little bit. Obviously, you have to go out and find a new job. I mean, if you don't need to like if it's not pressing for you, like great, you got a fallback. But like if you need a new job, you got to go find a new job, right? Like you can't wait until you're ready.
yeah, there's no such thing
Yeah.
as ready in that sense outside of
Well, ready
are you
is you
qualified.
just have to be ready.
Yeah, okay, so we're both asking each other what does ready mean, and we're both not getting an answer. So that's good. Let
All
me
right,
try and pivot.
let's Google ready first. We both know what ready means, but let's do it anyway. Ready means in a suitable state for an action or situation, fully prepared. Okay.
Okay, all right. What that makes me want to ask is like, what is the action we want to take? Because you're kind of shooting off in six different directions with like, oh, you have to be ready to get laid off, or you have to be ready to look for a job while you have a job, or you want to be ready to pass on the torch. Like those are different things, and you can't be ready for everything at once. You know?
Well, I'm not saying you have to be ready for everything at once, but like in like if you're like say we're focusing on one specific responsibility, and it could have been any one of those.
But none of those are responsibilities. Like you're talking about the three things I mentioned, yeah? Like just then.
Well, what do you mean they're not? Like your job is your responsibility, right? It's your responsibility to do your job.
Correct. That's what I mean. It's your responsibility to do your job, not get laid off or look for
It's
another job or pass the torch.
it is your responsibility to look for another. That's what I mean.
No, if you have a job, you don't have to look for another one.
But that's not the point.
Yeah, like I'm lost, man. Help me.
My question was, obviously, it's a little bit different when you have a stable job and you're ready to look for a new job. You're ready to move places. But my question is, does that definition of ready change? Like, say you get laid off. Like I said, you can't wait that long to start applying for a new job. Like, you have to apply for something that, like you said, you're qualified for, like you are suitable for. But like obviously that state of ready changes, right?
Yes, but like getting laid off is a whole separate thing, right? Because getting laid off becomes more of like a sudden crisis response, and not like it's not a question of readiness anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like unless you know it's coming, then you can like prepare. But it's like fire preparedness, you have your like exit plan. It's not it's different to progression.
Yeah.
So we can't like use the two as like comparison, or we can't let one inform the other.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't, at any rate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, like if you get laid off, you have to scramble to get another job, for the simple fact that you need to get bread on the table. Whereas if you're looking for a career progression, then it's like then you can start to ask the question of like, oh, what are my responsibilities to my old job? What are my qualifications? All that sort of thing. So like if you get laid off, you have to be prepared to like completely upend your whole life and go work in the grocery store for a spell,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Just to stay afloat. So yeah. So yeah. So let's
Fair
just
enough.
tighten the focus, I guess. That's what I want. Because I'm still lost.
Well, I mean, we don't want to specifically just talk about jobs because that's not going to be relevant to everyone.
Correct.
I was trying to make it a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
Like if we narrow it down, I sort of feel like it's going to defeat the whole purpose.
I guess, but we've already limited it to jobs by contrasting career progression and getting laid off. So yeah.
Okay, let's try and shift the focus then.
We could start again. As in like not the episode, but like just ask like your root question again.
So my root question was, how do you know when you're ready to move on from something?
Okay.
That was the root question.
Root question is, how do you know when you're ready to move on? Uh, Broad question, what exactly does moving on mean to you? Because I think that means different things to different people.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to describe. I'm now realizing outside of a job, like unless you like, it is possible, but like I can't help but go back to that job scenario. Like
Yeah.
maybe I had more of a focus before, like when I thought of the topic.
No, that's okay. I can think of another scenario that you'd move on from.
Mm.
Relationships.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Question, yeah, it's like again the question of how do you know you're ready. I don't know. It's
Because you can't look at a relationship the same way you look at a job. Like it's not
no,
as a transactional as a job is.
no.
And if it is, then the friendship's probably not great.
Yeah. Look, honestly, like the simple and crude answer that I can give you for like this general case of like how do you know you're ready to move on, which suggests or implies like how do you know you're ready to stop putting in to whatever this thing
Mm.
is the simple fact that you don't want to put in anymore, and there are different flavors of that lack of desire.
Mm-mm.
It could be that you want something else. And you have to temper that with your. Like, yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, I think about it in terms of relationships, and it's like, you gotta. If you're married, you made vows, and you gotta temper your desires with those vows, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
backseating out of those responsibilities. Hmm. How do you know you're ready to move on from something? I don't think that's the right question to ask, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what do you want to move towards? And it's like what and like is staying where you are going to contribute to that?
Mm-hmm.
And so, whether it be relationships, whether it be a job, whether it be whatever,
Yeah.
what do you want to move towards? Like, I want to move towards being a person who sticks to my word. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I got married and I made vows, so I will stick to my word.
Yeah.
Um, I want to be a person who, uh, I want to be a person who can afford a house, right? I want, like
Mm-hmm.
that's paychecks. As much as everyone talks crap about, working for money, like it's valid. Paychecks are a valid reason to, seek progression.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, like I'm not getting any pay rises at where I'm working,
Yeah.
and I've just gotten an opportunity with a fat pay rise. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to earn more money to afford a house, so this is a step towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I uh, I want to be with people who build me up and not tear me down. I want my closest and most intimate relationship to be one that is healthy and enriching. And my girlfriend is a psycho, so I'm gonna break things off.
Mm.
Like does that like make sense? That
Yeah,
framework?
I think so. Yeah.
Because that makes things a lot more clearer to me than am
Mm-mm.
I ready to stop this thing that I'm doing?
Yeah, right.
Um, because it's easy because it's easy to stay still. Um, and sometimes staying still is the thing you have to do. Um, yeah, I don't know. You get more clarity. I've found more clarity when you think about like where you want to go
Mm-hmm.
and like, am I making steps in that direction?
Mm-hmm.
Um, even in like the spiritual life, right? Like, what kind of spiritual life do I want to have? I want to pray better. Okay. What are things I can do do that, and what are things that I have to stop doing
Yeah.
to achieve that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, like job wise, I don't know, like what what do you want to like do job wise? What do you what do you want to be working towards as far as like your job's concerned?
Me?
Well,
Um,
yeah.
well, like the reason that I want to move on is I feel that in the role that I am right now, like, well, even the company is very focused on stability, but not so much focused on innovation. And in the space that I work in, innovation is a pretty big deal. Like, you want to be trying new technologies, new things as they come. Like, as much as important as stability is, especially for a big company, especially in like IT, you want to be like your workers want to be innovating. Otherwise, they're gonna get bored inevitably, unless like it is their goal to just do the same thing over and over, sort of thing.
Mm.
And yeah, like yeah. So I guess to answer the question, what do I want to move towards? I want to move probably to a company or to a job that's a bit more, yeah, fast paced and innovative, I suppose.
Okay. Okay. So you want varied and interesting work. You don't
Yeah,
want to be doing the same thing day in, day out.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And then how do you where can you what can you do to go towards that? Because that's probably like the place to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point leaving if you don't have a destination in mind.
Um, I mean, there isn't any one company, if that's what you're asking.
Well, yeah, but
The kind of job, but like there isn't
okay,
any one company that I want to go towards.
yeah, but like if you know the kind of job, then you can spec or like apply or focus your applications on that sort of job. Yeah,
Oh yeah, well that's what I've been doing.
yeah.
Like that's just common sense in job applications.
Oh yeah. Um, I don't know. It sounds to me like you're ready to move on a
Yeah. Yeah.
like philosophical level, if that's the word for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Qualifications are another thing, but
Mm,
they're their own thing. And it
mm,
could be that the next step for you is actually just to pursue those qualifications and not the job, strictly speaking.
yeah.
I don't know what that would require as far as like radical lifestyle shift, because I don't know. The upskilling process for me is just job. It's not.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's different for software types.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time check. 20, 15, 25? Around 25 now?
3 minutes.
23. Okay. Um, relationship. I guess, yeah, since I brought up relationships, I'll try to think about relationships. Um, yeah. Like, for anything that you haven't, like, made a vow for, you can just,
Dip.
leave.
Dip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't, you're not obliged to maintain relationships.
Like you can look at it from transactional perspective in the sense that if you're the only one putting in effort and you're not getting anything back in that scenario, I would say it's okay to leave.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not even like, oh, you have to get things out of a relationship, but it just comes back again to what what are you aiming for with this?
Mm.
And that's a dangerous question to ask, right? Because that's a question you have to temper with virtue. Because
Mm.
it is a perfectly standard response to be like, I want to maximize my own pleasure, or I want an easy life, or I want everyone to treat me with the respect that I'm owed. And
Mm.
maybe the truth is that nobody owes you anything. But maybe the truth is that only some people owe you something, and other people don't at all. Who knows? I don't. Yeah. Um, it's like there's a extra question of like, is what you want actually good, or is what you're aiming towards actually good?
Yeah.
That's probably like now we're starting to get into the realm of discernment. You know, like that big fancy Catholic word that has ruined decision making, according to depending on who you ask. Because discernment is a shorthand for say a prayer and hope that God will just give you the answer to your life's questions.
Yeah, like you don't need to put in any effort.
Yeah.
God will do the rest, right?
Oh yeah, it's God's will. He'll just tell you what to do. Yeah, no. And no, this isn't to say that he's some like distant magician man who's like watching and like waiting for you to screw it up, or his plan for you is something you have to figure out.
Yeah.
It's more that his plan for you actually like allows you to make your own decisions because
Mm-hmm.
he's cool like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, tangent aside, what do I actually want to say? Yeah, no, it's readiness isn't ready. I don't know if readiness was ever something that like the Gospels promoted in a weird way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't entirely aiming to like talk about anything as like a Catholic perspective. It's just like this is more of just like a life question.
Yeah, but the cool thing about being Catholic is it informs your whole life.
Yes, I know that. But
Or at least, it's meant to.
yeah.
I heard from one guy, one podcast way back when, it's a marinade and not a ketchup. You don't just squirt it on top.
Mm.
But yeah, the question was like, how do you know you're ready to move on from something? The answer is like, that's not the question. That my answer, like, just to reiterate everything I've just said, like, I don't think that's the question you should be asking. The question really should be like, what is it that you're moving towards?
Fair enough.
It's like, yeah, like if you're moving towards something, you'll make those moves away from other things just as part of the process.
Yeah.
Then like at that point, all it really is required is like your due diligence and your due respect and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like in the job context, it's giving your adequate notice and all that. that stuff. In the context of a relationship, it's not ghosting your partner for no reason, but actually being upfront and ending things properly or starting things properly. Yeah, I don't know. Did that help?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
That's good. Because I actually just didn't answer your question because I can't.
Fair enough. I think I saw the conversation going in a very different direction when I thought of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I didn't quite think the topic through.
I mean, that's what the thinking happens here on the show. That's the point of the show.
That's true.
That's where the thinking happens.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this was a pretty abstract episode. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll do.
Yeah, I'm just like, where do we go from here?
We are at 30. Well, we can keep going a bit longer, but
Okay, let's maybe do something to tail end it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want it to be abstract like what I'm asking, but I can't really think of any other way to like make it applicable to every scenario. But what are some ways you can work out what you want to move towards?
Oh, that's a good question. That actually might be a controversial question in Catholic culture I've observed, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember our discussions on people pleasing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it ties into that a lot, right?
Yeah.
As Catholics, we're told that we have to be selfless, we have to be charitable.
Mm-hmm.
These things are true to a degree, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So let me preface all of this by saying this is purely my opinion. I don't have the Nihil Obstat or the Imprimatur on any of this. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so as Catholics, we're told to be charitable, we're told to be selfless. And that is true. We have to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
But something I've started to think about is this idea of the gift of self. And that comes up in Saint Pope John Paul II's Theology of the Body a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also true. Like, we have to make a gift of ourselves.
Yeah.
But to do that, it's there's sort of the implication that like there is a self to give.
Mm.
And so something I've noticed is I've done this. I'm sure you've done this. The thing of people pleasing is you don't pay attention to what you want. You don't express what you want. You focus on what everyone around you wants or what you think they want. And so I guess all that said, like, let's just come back to like a bit of a tautology, right? A bit of a redundant answer of like, how do you figure out what you want to work towards?
Mm-hmm.
You have to like take some time alone and like not focus on what other people want from you or what other people would expect you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to just ask yourself, like, what do I want? And that answer might not be what other people. That answer might not be what you expect other people would like.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like pursuing your own desires is a terrifying and scary thing.
Mm.
Because we're also taught that, like, the lust of the desires of the flesh are something to be worked against.
Yeah.
And again, that's true. And so it's not easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's what I'm trying to chip away at, like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like none of that sounds helpful, does it? None of that like really tail ends it or bookends it nicely because it's just more abstraction and more open-ended fluff.
Yeah, I think that's just this realm. Like it's pretty difficult to.
It's
Yeah.
it's the nature of it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, like desire in and of itself isn't bad. because we're meant to desire the Lord.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I could go on to say that, like, even this sort of thinking influences my approach to fasting and stuff. Like, that's why I'm always asking why we're doing this fasting. What's your end goal? Because again, it's like, what do you want out of the fast?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the time, like I've said this stuff before, but yeah. Also, we're out of time.
Yes. Alrighty. Prayer intentions.
Yeah. I'll take the bog standard today. Yep. So yeah, I'll start us off with praying for an end to all the conflicts throughout the world, particularly in Ukraine and Russia and Israel, Palestine, Afghanistan, everywhere else in the world, Yemen, Myanmar, Sudan. Yeah, everywhere in the world where there's conflict, and particularly where there's persecution of Christians. Pray for peace, lasting peace in the world. Yeah, now for on topic, it's a tricky one. I pray for two things. I'm going to pray for two things. I'll pray first of all that we're given, good and holy desires. And then the second part is that I pray that we have the clarity to seek them out in good and holy ways. Which again is like abstract and vague and honestly the work of a lifetime, I think. But yeah, that's me.
Fair enough. I guess I pray for anyone that's looking at, I don't know, like making that sort of change that we talked about today, whether it's, going to a new job or, you want to leave something behind and move towards something new, as Shali was saying, like maybe, it's a relationship, like you don't see it going the way you want to do, where God is willing you to be. Yeah, we pray for everyone going through situations like that they are able to, make the right choices, I guess. And yeah.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, hope you enjoyed all of that. Sorry for all the abstraction. It just came with the territory, I guess. If you enjoyed what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, click the buttons, do the things. If you didn't, leave a comment, email us, chadsbychrist@gmail.com, or get on our Discord. Pretty sure that link works. I don't actually know. But yeah, like, leave a comment, give us some feedback. Either way, please pray for us. Know that we're praying for you. And thank you so much for listening. And we hope to catch you in the next one. God bless.
Thanks, guys. God bless. See ya.
Catch you.